What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, DN Dual Commentary. We've got Jordanator at the top, 1653, playing the Artifact Hand Trap Tricks deck. Gigabear at the bottom, 1738. I've been keeping my eye on this guy for like the last hour and a half. Not gonna lie, he's on a serious winning streak. I mean, dude's just on a tear. So, looks like he went Instant Fusion after going for Armageddon Knights, and he got blasted with a Torrential Tribute. Now you see that he goes Soul Charge. He does need to pay 3,000 life points. So Jordanator's thinking about it. Well, technically, I guess he doesn't need to pay 3,000 life points yet. All monsters should be in the graveyard, and Jordanator should think if he wants to, you know, respond. So, okay, looks like it's good. He's going to pay 3,000 life points. He's going to get the effect of Armageddon Knight. And I am almost certain, because I've watched Gigabear play a couple of times, he has to be running 3 Soul Charges. He has it all the fucking time. He has to be running 3 copies. Alright, so he goes Diamond Dire Wolf. So that gets Bottomless, which is essentially what he wanted. He must have some further play. So he removes the Diamond Dire Wolf and the Street Patrol. He summons Necromancer in defense mode. I think he has a second one in there. Yep, he plays 2 Street Patrols too. So he gets Archfiend as well. And this is where Infernity get to do what Infernity like to do. That gets him a break. These two will definitely exceed. Yeah, okay, so he's going into Lavable Chain. He dumps Archfiend in the graveyard. He dumps Eris in hand, which gets him the Labyrinth. Okay, so he's really going all out. He sets Labyrinth. He uses Necromancer to get another Archfiend. Probably going to get Break or Barrier on that one. Oh, Jordanator says, fuck this game, I'm scooping. So, Infernity's, it has always been one of those decks where, again, before Primal Origins came out, I did say that I thought that Infernity was the best deck of the format because it practically always went off turn 1. Like when you added Soul Charge into the mix, all it did was give the deck more launchers, and you could just launcher anything. Like you see that he got back Armageddon Knight, which loaded up the graveyard. He got back a fucking a fusion monster. And I mean, again, you can't really contain them. It just, you know, you will get shit on. Now I don't know how well they handle the hands. I wouldn't think that they do well against them. And honestly, I think Madolche right now are pretty much just Infernity 2.0. But, I mean, against certain decks... Oh, and looks like Jordanator's playing Worms. But I know he does run... He runs the hand trap trick type engine. And he opens with Yex. And he puts Yegin face down. Sets 1, 2... Okay, only 2 sets. And... Ooh, MST... That hits Needle Ceiling, and here comes Monk, which hits an Instant Fusion, which means he has some way of going off. You don't give up Instant Fusion unless you have some way of going off. And again, you're gonna see why this is one of the most consistent decks. If you don't have the adequate like traps or hand traps to basically fight back against the deck, you will get destroyed by Infernity. Although Needle Ceiling, I gotta admit, that's really good tech. I like Needle Ceiling against Infernity. I've actually seen that card cripple them because they load up with a big field and you can just Needle Seal on them, torch everything. Alright, so he dumps Street Patrol in the graveyard from Armageddon Knight. He goes into E-Knight. Okay, he gets Blackhorned. Don't be surprised if he goes Soul Charge. Oh, he doesn't have the Soul Charge, finally. He goes set 1, 2. Oh, never mind. He might have Archfiend though. Yes, he does. So, after removing Street Patrol, he goes Archfiend. I mean, I can't blame the guy for going for the home run. He's probably thinking about what he wants to do here. Because, I mean, he needs to be able to get over Yax plus Yegin. And he kind of can't do both in the same turn. I don't think he has any other... Okay, so he goes Launcher. He might just attack and then pass. Yep, that's exactly what he does. He attacks. I don't even think he's going to activate Launcher. I think he's just going to pass. Oh, okay, he does activate Launcher. He activates Launcher to get Archfiend. He's probably going to search out Break. Yep, he gets Break. And even with this simplified game state, he has essentially broken the game down to where he's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's basically 4-on-4. Just he has a vastly superior trap. And it looks like in the standby phase, he might want to use break on the Yagin. Okay, yep, that's exactly what he does. You wonder what those two face downs are. And we see a Trap Tricks Myrmilio come down, which gets hit with Infernity Barrier. Jordanator sets one and then passes back to Gigabear. Gigabear says, alright, well, I'll take it. I'm just going to attack for 1800 and then set one. Jordanator has more cards, but I'm not really sure he has advantage here. You see another Trap Tricks Myrmilio come down, which I would imagine he'd go for Trap Tricks Nightmare and not oh, he goes for Bottomless. I think I would have went for Nightmare rather than Bottomless. Duality comes down. The problem is he needs to get this card off board. He sees Breakthrough Skill, Soul Charge. Yeah, I knew he was going to take Soul Charge. You take Soul Charge because you can just open the floodgates next turn. I mean, especially you Soul Charge these guys. They blow up back row too. So he sets a card and play goes back to Gigabear. I think Gigabear needs to go off this turn or he might lose this duel. Because if that Soul Charge resolves successfully, I think Gigabear is going to get the break speed off of him. And I think Jordanator is going to get so much advantage. Again, he took Bottomless. I would have taken Nightmare because if you Bottomless and Archfiend that comes back, they still get the effect. So I mean, maybe he has Nightmare already set or something like that. But that's just my personal belief. I would have taken the Nightmare instead. One of the rare times where Nightmare, in my opinion, seems a little superior. So you see Jordanator attacks. He gets it in for 200. And then he goes Monk. And he's looking at his extra deck. He goes for Lavalva Chain. I imagine he's going to Bottomless immediately, which he does. He uses Lance. Okay. So I guess it doesn't matter if he would have went Nightmare or not. The Lance would have been good anyway. And Lance is a card you don't usually see in Infernity. Like, Lance is a card that, to me, it seems like it's kind of completely fallen out of favor. Like, even right now, I don't run it in Bujins. It's just, like, so much of the format is fucking, you know, artifact this, artifact that, and hand this and hand that, and they don't really care if you have lances and shit, so. Jordanator goes for his Soul Charge play. I imagine he's going as many as possible. At least 3, because I know he has 2 Myrmilio and Yex in there. By the way, the Lavalva Chain put Archfiend on top of the deck. So, activation is fine. You just wonder if the summon of the monsters... He only goes 2. I'm shocked. I thought he would have went 3. In my opinion, you need to do as much as you can to hinder your opponent. Going to, like, being skimpy on life points, or, yeah, skipping on the life points ain't going to win you any games. So, yeah, you definitely want to go 3. I mean, what's the chances of him Bottomless in all 3 of them anyway? So he goes Myrmilio times 2, Yex, puts both Myrmilios in defense. He goes for a, well, he uses the effect. Unfortunately, MST is chained on Warning, which really hurts because the Warning would have been able to get rid of the Archfiend, which pretty much cinches the game. But he could, well, he can get rid of this. He can just one-on-one it or Diamond Dire with it, whatever. Obviously, one-on-one the better option. He could go for the hand, the giant hand, if he runs it. I know a lot of people don't run it, but he could go for the giant hand. And you just basically use it on Archfiend and Archfiend only. Now, I guess Lavalva Chain could throw Eris into the graveyard and get him something else. Alright, so he goes one-on-one. Gets rid of the Lavalva Chain. I mean, basically, if he has, okay, well, never mind. He normal summons Yex, and what rank 4 is he going to go into that is essentially going to get rid of Gigabear's top deck Infernity Archfiend? You know, if he has any type of response, okay, he goes in the giant hand. I think that there's no way Gigabear can win now. He summons Archfiend, it gets negated. Now he passes turn, obviously. Now Jordanator should just beat the crap out of him. He attacks for 2100 with the 101. Sets a monster. Now, unless he top decks another, you know, Infernity monster. He sets a card, and Gigabear says, I'm scooping it up. Now, I know that I've seen Gigabear go off a couple of times turn 1, and he does run some, he runs some pretty, like, interesting tech. One of the monsters, whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, if you guys, well, if he goes off turn 1, there's a decent chance he might use it. And it's probably a card that you guys haven't seen before. And it's not a card that I think is very good. But if you're going off turn 1, it's practical in that sense. So Gigabear is going first, which obviously is huge for Infernity. It's huge, it's just huge in general. Like, have you noticed that? Like, the amount of people who win going first, in my opinion, it's just skyrocketed. Like, I think that the win percentage when going first has to be somewhere like 70%, something like that. Alright, so we see Goldfish come down, which gives him the extra summon of Armageddon Knight. We see a max seed change from Jordanator, who obviously doesn't want to get blown out the water. We see a Street Patrol dump, a Foolish Burial, which could be Eris or Street Patrol. And it's going to be interesting. Okay, that gets him Eris, which gets him Archfiend in hand. It's going to be interesting to see how much Gigabear is willing to give Jordanator. And it doesn't look like he's giving him anything. Okay, I'm trying to decipher if he's going to pass or is he going to give him what he wants. Is he going to give Jordanator extra cards and try and wall up and give him basically a tillion cards? And he just ends turn. So I guess he's giving him nothing. Alright, so Jordanator summons Myrmilio. And I'd imagine, again, he's going to go Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare, and not go for Bottomless Trap Hole. If he plays Nightmare, you know, I'm pretty sure I've seen, okay, yeah, he gets Nightmare. I was going to say, I've seen this dude play Nightmare before. So he goes into battle phase. He attacks Goldfish. Sets 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, man. I didn't expect to see a set 4 here. Alright, so we see Necromancer come down in defense mode. And then I imagine we're going to see Archfiend. I imagine we're going to see Archfiend off of the Street Patrol. And let's see if that happens. He banishes, summons Archfiend. Now Jordanator's thinking about it. I guess he's thinking about maybe if he wants to use something like a Solemn Warning or something else. The big problem is, okay, so he lets him use the effect. I was going to say, the big problem is, it seems like he can kind of go off because obviously he's going to exceed with Armageddon Knights and Archfiend. I would imagine, oh, we see Needle Ceiling come down. So Needle Ceiling is going to clear them all out. Now he loses his Myrmilio, but I don't think he's too concerned about that. Now we see a launcher, and MST is chained on the launcher. Now you have to wonder if he has Soul Charge. He doesn't, and man, he might be super fucked. Because we already know that this is Labyrinth, which ain't doing anything right now. So you wonder what these two back rows are. And Needle Ceiling, man, it put in work because Needle Ceiling essentially, I mean, it did everything that he needed to. Not only did it get rid of Archfiend, but it got rid of Necromancer too, which essentially made this a dead card as well. So we see Armageddon Knight come down, which dumps the second Street Patrol in the graveyard. And we see an Infernity break. Don't let that be a hand monster. If that's a hand monster, you might as well scoop this shit up. Okay, so he wiretaps. He wiretaps the Infernity break. So Infernity break will go back to the deck. I think that there's a decent chance that this is Worm Yagen. I'm not sure. Well, unfortunately, Worm Yagen ain't optional, so he would have to bounce, and he doesn't attack anyway. Okay, now we see W Nubella Meteorite, and oh shit, Gigabear scoops it up. And that win streak is no mas. Okay, I just want to see what the chat's saying about this right quick. Oh, man. Okay, pretty interesting stuff. Thank you guys for watching as always.